The term civilization can be a bit slippery depending on who you ask. But archaeologists generally agree it describes societies with advanced cultural and technological achievements. Take Australia's Aboriginal people, for instance, often celebrated as the world's oldest continuous culture. Despite their extraordinary endurance, their nomadic lifestyle and lack of permanent infrastructure usually leave them out of the civilization club. Of course, that classification sparks plenty of debate. Most of us are familiar with heavyweights like the ancient Egyptians, Aztecs, and Incas. But history's archives are packed with lesser-known civilizations that shaped their worlds in ways that still mystify us. From obscure rituals to architectural marvels, these ancient societies offer a peek into lives that feel as alien as they are fascinating. Welcome back to Helpful Think. If you're new here, be sure to drop a comment and say hey. I'd love to see you around. Now, let's dive into a few of their stories and see just how weird or wonderful their world was. 10. Indus Valley Civilization, 3300 to 1300 BC. The Indus Valley Civilization flourished in what is now parts of Pakistan, Afghanistan, and India, sprawling across the fertile plains near the Indus River. This wasn't just a random scattering of huts. Archaeologists uncovered entire cities like Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa, where urban planning was apparently the name of the game. Picture this, homes with private wells and bathrooms all hooked up to an underground drainage system that would put some modern cities to shame. These people were living a little more lavishly than we tend to imagine. Even Sumerian records mention the Indus Valley as a bustling hub of commerce, art, and religion, describing their exotic wares. Yet, despite all this sophistication, one of their biggest mysteries remains unsolved: their writing system. Found on pottery and copper tablets, their script has kept scholars stumped for decades, leaving the story of their society frustratingly incomplete. Adding to the enigma is the absence of any evidence that ties them to a larger kingdom. Unlike other ancient societies, there are no statues of rulers or triumphant depictions of wars to suggest a hierarchical empire. This raises the tantalizing possibility that the Indus River people were a standalone civilization with a distinct language and lifestyle we're only beginning to piece together. One standout discovery is the Great Bath at Mohenjo-Daro, an 83-square-meter structure thought to be used for ritual bathing. Whether this was for hygiene or a spiritual cleanse, we may never know, but it speaks to their organized and possibly symbolic way of life. As for why this thriving society vanished, historians have been playing detective for years. Theories range from environmental disasters, like rivers drying up or catastrophic floods, to economic woes, like trade issues with Mesopotamia. And of course, there's always the classic culprit: invasion by an unknown enemy. Whatever the reason, the Indus Valley civilization remains one of history's most fascinating puzzles, shrouded in mystery and sophistication. 9. The Kingdom of Axum, AD 100 to 940. Axum was an ancient powerhouse nestled in what is now northern Ethiopia, flexing its influence from the edges of the Sahara to the sands of the Arabian Desert. At its peak, this kingdom was a trade titan, exchanging goods with nations across the eastern Mediterranean, and its people even developed their own script, Ge'ez, a linguistic badge of honor. A Persian writer once called Axum one of the 4 greatest powers in the world. Yet today, this once mighty kingdom is considered a lost civilization, with its stories shrouded in mystery. Life in Axum seems to have revolved around a well-ordered hierarchy, ruled by kings and noblemen who kept things running smoothly, or so we assume. By the 4th century AD, the kingdom had embraced Orthodox Christianity, a major shift sparked by a former Syrian prisoner who converted the king and eventually became the bishop of Axum. Talk about a career change. Axum also has some legendary claims to its name. Ever heard of the Queen of Sheba? Some say she hailed from here, making Axum the stomping grounds of biblical royalty. And let's not forget the ultimate treasure, the Ark of the Covenant. According to lore, Menelik I, the son of Sheba and King Solomon, smuggled the Ark into Axum, where it's supposedly kept to this day in a local church. But don't get too excited. Nobody's allowed to see it, so it might as well be a supernatural version of Finders Keepers. Axum's legacy may be hidden beneath layers of history, but its achievements and legends ensure it remains a fascinating piece of the ancient world's puzzle. 8. Konar Sandal, 4500 to 3000 BC. Konar Sandal might not be a household name, but this ancient site in Jiroft, southern Iran, is rewriting what we know about early civilizations. In 2002, archaeologists uncovered a massive ziggurat, a terraced temple complex, believed to be one of the oldest and largest in the world. And if that wasn't impressive enough, excavations have also revealed two mounds hiding treasures like a massive two-story building with walls so thick they scream fortress. Clearly, whoever built this place wasn't messing around. The ziggurat hints at a highly organized society steeped in ritual and belief, dating back to around 2200 BC. Some historians believe it was constructed by the elusive Arata, a Bronze Age kingdom mentioned in Sumerian texts, but never officially located. The lead archaeologist even described Konar Sandal as an independent, autochthonous Bronze Age civilization with its own architecture and language. Translation? These folks were doing their own thing and doing it well. Unfortunately, the site hasn't escaped the attention of looters. Precious artifacts have been stolen or lost to unauthorized digs, leaving historians wondering what treasures might have slipped through their fingers. Even so, the discoveries so far suggest that this civilization could hold the key to the oldest written language on Earth. The work continues, and with evidence of religious, domestic, agricultural, and industrial activity, archaeologists are optimistic that Konar Sandal still has plenty of secrets to share. Who knows? This might just be the place that proves history is far weirder and far older than we ever imagined. 7. Sanliurfa, Turkey. If you're enjoying today's video, why not hit that pesky little subscribe button? It really motivates me to keep making these kinds of videos. Thank you. And now to Sanliurfa. Known as Urfa in ancient times, is a city steeped in history and a magnet for religious lore. Among its many claims to fame is a cave said to be the birthplace of the prophet Abraham, and it was once a thriving hub of Syrian culture. But the real star of the show sits just a stone's throw away, Göbekli Tepe, a site so ancient it rewrites the history books. Picture this: a temple built 6,000 years before Stonehenge, with massive carved stones arranged in intricate circles. Some of these megaliths tower at 16 feet and weigh up to 10 tons, yet they were crafted before the advent of metal tools. If that doesn't blow your mind, consider the carvings: foxes, lions, scorpions, and vultures etched into stone, all hinting at the significance of this mysterious place. The largest circle spans a whopping 65 feet in diameter, and surveys suggest there might be as many as 16 of these enigmatic formations still waiting to be unearthed. Historians theorize that people from nearby Urfa made pilgrimages to Göbekli Tepe for religious ceremonies. What those rituals entailed? That's anyone's guess. No concrete evidence has been found to unlock the mystery. Speaking of concrete, the site suffered a major setback in 2018, when botched conservation efforts involved pouring actual concrete onto parts of the site, causing irreparable damage. Despite these setbacks, Göbekli Tepe stands as a testament to human ingenuity and the enduring pull of spirituality. It's not just the oldest temple we know of. It's a puzzle that keeps daring us to piece together the story of our earliest ancestors. 6. Vinca civilization, 5000s to 3500 BC. The Vinca civilization, also known as the Danube Valley civilization, may not be a household name, but it has a pretty compelling claim to fame what might just be one of the earliest writing systems in human history. With around 700 characters, most carved into pottery, this mysterious script remains untranslated. However, some researchers suspect it blends letters and numbers, hinting at a complexity far beyond its Neolithic roots. Stretching along the Danube River, the Vinca civilization predates heavyweights like Mesopotamia and Egypt, and evidence of its existence first surfaced in 1908 at Bilo Biardo Hill near Belgrade. These settlements were no backwater villages. They thrived for over 1,000 years, housing thousands in homes crafted from wattle and daub clay. The Vinca people kept animals, grew crops, and even used an early plow to sow cereals. Talk about innovation. And they weren't just ahead of the curve in farming, they were using copper utensils a full millennium before the rest of Europe caught on. One of the most dazzling finds linked to this culture is the Varna gold treasure. Discovered in a necropolis near Varna. Dating back about 6,500 years, this treasure trove may represent the oldest goldsmithing in the world. Clearly, the Vinca people were pioneers of their time, blending artistry with practicality. But for all their advancements, the Vinca civilization disappeared, leaving behind more questions than answers. Why they vanished is anyone's guess, but they took their knowledge and innovations with them, leaving the rest of us to wonder just how much history remains buried beneath the banks of the Danube. 5. Aryan Kingdom. 15,000s BC. Around 1,500 BC, a wave of nomadic peoples, possibly even the remnants of the Indus Valley civilization, migrated into the Indian subcontinent. The reason for this migration is still debated. Was it the result of a natural disaster forcing people to flee, or was it more of an invasion? Whatever the cause, it marked the beginning of a new civilization in India. These newcomers spoke the Aryan language, and with time they developed agriculture, laying the foundation for what would become a deeply influential culture by around 1000 BC. The term Aryan itself comes from the Sanskrit word Arya, which these settlers used to refer to themselves. Today, however, historical records of the Aryan civilization are scarce. Their story is primarily preserved in the Vedas, a collection of ancient religious texts where tales of wars and conflicts are told. Yet these texts raise more questions than they answer. The accuracy of the stories remains uncertain. What we do know is that, despite a lack of tangible artifacts from the era, ongoing archaeological efforts may eventually reveal more about this enigmatic chapter in history. 4. Mehrgarh, 7000s BC. In 1974, excavations began at Mehrgarh in Pakistan, but the site has been plagued by challenges that have kept it somewhat of a hidden gem in the archaeological world. Government indifference, land erosion, and rampant looting have all played a part in keeping this ancient civilization under wraps. Add to that the difficulties posed by ongoing tribal feuds and lax security for the archaeologists, and it's no wonder the full scope of Mehrgarh remains elusive. That said, what has been uncovered is nothing short of remarkable. Mehrgarh is one of the oldest known civilizations, dating back to around 7000 BC, long before the rise of the Indus Valley civilization, just a stone's throw away. Evidence shows a society with robust trade links stretching across regions, highlighting their advanced connections. The population is believed to have been around 25,000, and remnants of daily life continue to surface, including intriguing signs of early dental surgery. While many of the artifacts remain buried deep beneath the earth, the discoveries that have been made so far offer a tantalizing glimpse into the past. Archaeologists have uncovered a complex of well-preserved buildings made of mud bricks, and even a formal cemetery, offering a sense of the social and cultural structure that once thrived here. If only the site were better protected and more accessible, who knows what else might be waiting to reshape our understanding of early human civilization. 3. Nineveh, 6000s to 612 BC. Nineveh, the ancient heart of the Assyrian Empire and modern-day Mosul in Iraq, was once home to one of the world's oldest and most powerful civilizations. Although the city was ravaged by a series of earthquakes, including the destruction of the original Ishtar temple, Nineveh continued to rise and thrive. Under King Sennacherib 704681 BC, Nineveh was transformed into the empire's capital. He surrounded the city with a massive 15-gate wall and oversaw the construction of lush parks, aqueducts, canals, and a monumental 80-room palace. This palace, without rival as Sennacherib modestly called it, stood as a testament to the king's ambition and the empire's might. Some historians even speculate that the legendary Hanging Gardens of Babylon, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, might have actually been located in Nineveh, commissioned by Sennacherib himself. The city also became a hub for intellectual and artistic pursuits with the construction of a massive library, housing over 30,000 inscribed clay tablets, an incredible collection for its time. Scholars and scribes flocked to Nineveh, turning it into a center for the arts, sciences, and architecture. Among the most remarkable discoveries in Nineveh's library was a tablet telling the tale of a great flood, a version of the Noah's Ark story predating the Hebrew Bible by over a millennium. This epic poem, written in 1800 BC, describes a man who survived the flood by building a boat and releasing a dove to find dry land. This parallel to the biblical flood narrative highlights just how far-reaching ancient Mesopotamian stories were. Today, much of the library's treasures reside in the British Library, preserving a slice of Nineveh's grand history. But Nineveh's glory didn't last forever. A royal feud in 627 BC weakened the Assyrian Empire, and in 612 BC, Nineveh was obliterated by a combined force of Persians, Babylonians, and others. The city was set ablaze, and its grandeur was reduced to rubble. Excavations began in 1846, but the site has suffered greatly during recent conflicts and is now further endangered by vandalism. Despite these setbacks, the ruins continue to be studied, slowly revealing the secrets of this once great civilization. 2. Nubia. Nestled to the south of Egypt, in what is now Sudan, Nubia was once a powerful civilization in its own right, so influential, in fact, that it ruled Egypt during the 25th dynasty, often referred to as the Black Dynasty due to the Nubian heritage of its pharaohs. During this period, both Egypt and Nubia flourished in a time of stability and prosperity, with a strong emphasis on culture and the arts. Nubians even built their own pyramids, with 223 of them still standing today, a testament to their architectural prowess. Nubia wasn't just a land of mighty rulers, it also had its own written language and rich cultural traditions. The region was known for its vast gold resources, which contributed to its wealth and influence. However, Nubia's dominance over Egypt was short-lived. Pharaoh Sneferu launched a raid that shifted the balance of power, turning Nubia into a resource-rich outpost for Egypt, primarily used for mineral extraction. Despite their fall from power, the Nubian people didn't vanish into history. Over time, they largely assimilated into the Egyptian population, but traces of their civilization remain. Much like their Egyptian counterparts, the Nubians had a penchant for carving images of themselves, though they sometimes preferred to depict themselves with a more robust physique. Each to their own when it came to self-expression. 1. Nortico civilization, 3500 to 1800 BC. And the last entry on our list is the Nortico civilization, one of the most enigmatic pre-Columbian societies in the Americas that continues to intrigue historians and archaeologists. Located in present-day Peru, it is possibly the oldest known civilization on the continent, though much about their way of life remains shrouded in mystery. Massive structures, including pyramids and intricate irrigation systems, have been discovered, offering clues to the society's complexity. 6 pyramids have been uncovered so far, with the largest being the Pyramid Mayor. While these structures are not as ornate as the later Inca architecture, their sheer scale and design suggest a highly organized society. What's truly fascinating about Nortico is that it appears to be one of the few ancient civilizations that didn't develop pottery. No pottery has been found at their sites, leading experts to believe they relied on gourds for storage, though these would have been less practical for cooking. Despite the absence of pottery and other everyday artifacts, there is evidence that the people of Nortico may have worshipped a deity, though their religious practices and beliefs remain a mystery. The settlements, which were located near 3 major rivers to the north of modern-day Lima, were abandoned around 1800 BC. However, the reasons for this sudden departure are unclear. There is no evidence of warfare, conflict, or natural disasters like floods or earthquakes. Some theorists suggest a prolonged drought could have driven the population to migrate, but this remains speculative. For now, the Nortico civilization continues to be one of the great unsolved mysteries of the ancient world. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.